So this video is uh, an introduction to the book that I published, House on the Hill, A Metaphysical Journey into the Glass Bead Game. It did ship today, so I should have my copy, first copy, tomorrow. It is available at Amazon.com, will be available at Barnes & Noble. This is the poster. They sent me several of these. House on the Hill. I really like how this is the cover and this is the poster that they sent me. I really like how that turned out. What I wanted to do is summarize what this book is about and go through it a little bit again. The foreword was by Tony Magna, and I really like the foreword. Just a couple of things from there. For thousands of years, priests, sages, monks, and philosophers have all referenced cases of this higher state of consciousness. Friedrich Nietzsche referred to this as a state of overman. My intent with studying philosophy is to bring the concept of these great thinkers of the East and the West in order to create new understanding of what these people have written and talked about throughout the existence of man. This next step in our development will not be a physical adaptation, but rather a conscious evolution into a higher conscious state of being. So Tony Magna completely appreciates the glass bead game and so forth, so I had him write the foreword, and that's in there. And I really enjoy and like that. The book is really, again, a compilation of the works of many of the greatest minds that have ever lived. Some of the, just looking at the table of contents, we have Hermann Hesse, and Ayn Rand, Alan Watts, Plato, Parmenides, Zeno, Douglas Hofstadter, Aristotle, Anaxagoras, Bertrand Russell, and so forth. There's many, many guys referenced in this book, and really it is a compilation of that. I wrote the book in 4 days. I put it together, and it really each category, each guide that I go through, there's just a little short summary, and there's a quote or two from some of them. And there would be so much more that I could have put into this book, but it is just a reference point and a compilation and an open system just to be expanded on and so forth. Read a little bit of the beginning. This book was inspired by the book The Glass Bead Game by Hermann Hesse. This is an entelechy of a theoretically possible coming to be and actualization of an ultimate existence. This is the synthesis of all the great minds and disciplines in the history of philosophy, religion, science, mathematics, music, art, literature, poetry, painting, sculpting, and theater, etc., to name a few, to create an alternative supreme reality. It is an intellectual and artistic hall of fame of sorts. The study and realization of the self at a higher state of consciousness came to be in writing this book. A creative freedom was exercised without concern for convention, criticism, or the mundaneness of everyday pragmatic ways of thinking in society and limited viewing of the world. In one respect, you can say that this is a history of metaphysics, but it is also the synthesis of all of the profound ideas that fuse into one ultimate conception of reality. This glorified reality, an act of creating it, is at the foundation of my glass bead game in my metaphorical house on the hill. The following is a compilation of all the great thinkers that I have had the luxury and privilege to read and incorporate into my sanctuary. Much of the book is comprised of the thoughts and ideas of these great minds, which magnify the artistic glory of the glass bead game. I certainly could not say it any better than they have said it themselves, but have tried to elaborate on its significance to my glass bead game. Although many of the reproductions of these great men and women's work may seem as contradictory to each other, they are all significant in their own way towards the ultimate concept of truth. Moreover, I feel that I have almost attained immortality myself in writing this book, since it has been done in that timeless type of fashion, and the essence of it will forever be. In a way, this manuscript is considered my living Bible or I Ching, in which I am able to refer back to it and build upon further creations of the reality of the glass bead game. It is an open system. And then I went through, many of the names that we've talked about so many times, I went through and just started just one paragraph, two paragraphs, or a page on each guy, just a short summary. I did not go that in depth into each guy, but it is this open system, and I expand on it in the videos, and expanded on it in my first book, Metaphysics of Being, and I'll probably expand on it more in the third book and future videos and so forth. So that's just an introduction. Just for example, the very first one, Hermann Hesse, the glass bead game. Hermann Hesse believed in the Eastern way of thinking and mysticism, in which he viewed reality from a different perspective than the Western ways of thinking. It pursues a state of nirvana through the study of the self and reality by shedding the ego and becoming one with the experience of reality. Similar to the ecstasy that a mountain climber experiences when he climbs Mount Everest, in which he becomes one with the event. Time and the self disappear and merges through a focus on the task at hand. In the book, the setting of the glass bead game is a secret society called Castalia, where Joseph Knecht was able to study mathematics and music and pursue a higher state of consciousness. This was expanded to include all of the disciplines in which Joseph Knecht was able to synthesize the history of all knowledge to create an ultimate reality. As it turns out, the game is in actuality real and is the study of himself and his journey towards a perfect existence. Many of his other novels, such as Journey to the East, Steppenwolf, Narcissus and Goldman, and Damien, were Hermann Hesse disguised as fictional characters in which he was able to live a life of fantasy in which he could seek immortality and self-discovery. And a quote by Hermann Hesse, "These games were little dramas in structure, almost pure monologues, reflecting on the imperiled but brilliant life of the author's mind like a perfect self-portrait." And I get into Ayn Rand, realism in the second part of this. Ayn Rand developed the objectivist philosophical system in which the pursuit of one's own happiness is the highest goal of man through the pursuit of maximum human self-achievement. She believed in glorification of the ego, which was the opposite of the Eastern way of thinking, in which believed in the shedding of the ego as the ultimate state of existence. She believed that this losing of the self was evil and self-destructive. Coerced altruism was especially despised by Rand, since it limited man's freedom to pursue one's own goals. Unfettered freedom was one of her top guiding principles that she built the objectivist philosophy on. This included economic, intellectual, and artistic freedom. No state had any moral or legal right to hinder or coerce you in any way. This included all forms of coerced taxation, in which he considered it to be legalized stealing. In her novel, Atlas Shrugged, she had all of the industrialists and productive members of society disappear to form their own secret society, free from the immorality and evils of liberal, progressive socialists. There they were free to pursue the perfection of man, one individual at a time, through a system of self-reliance. It was Ayn Rand's development of the objectivist philosophy, which emphasizes self-interest, self-achievement, self-reliance, and most importantly, the freedom to glorify one's own ego, that makes her a necessary member of the glass bead game, but also as one of the greatest women to ever live. Then the third guy that I go through, and those are the basically the chapters of the book. Alan Watts was an expert on all Eastern and Western religions and attempted to compare and contrast the various views. He believes that the West was dogmatic, whereas the Eastern forms of mysticism allowed for the pursuit and study of reality and the self as the path to a state of nirvana. Alan Watts talks about a lightning strike in which you know instantly with 100% certainty the true nature of reality existing within a yin and yang duality of oneness. Alan Watts spent his entire life seeking a higher state of consciousness, which he explained in artistic detail in his countless books and lectures. He created his own unkept secret haven of intellectualism outside of the mainstream of society. His ability to compare and contrast Eastern and Western ways of thinking was similar to comparisons of the wave-particle duality to reality and existence. How he talked about prickles and goo. You don't look out there for God, something in the sky. You look in you. That was a quote from Alan Watts. The fourth one that I went through was Plato. Plato believed that our limited minds were living in a virtual illusion in which we could not perceive the perfection of ultimate reality. He believed that his Platonic forms were the ideal that existed outside the confines of space and time. Plato developed the academy, which was a form of the glass bead game and foundation of our current university system, where higher pursuits of learning could take place in a setting outside the demands of everyday society. My next one was Parmenides, again, who had a great influence on metaphysics of being. Parmenides believed in one immutable, eternal, indivisible reality which transcended the limited world in which we perceive. He stated that being is so elusive that it even transcended itself. The last line of Plato's Parmenides, that one cannot be anywhere, either in itself or in another, has special meaning in the Buddhist ways of thinking, in which man seeks a definition of meaning of himself, but is yet to find it. So that's a short introduction to the book that is published now, House on the Hill, which I did for my own enjoyment, amusement, and intellectual pursuits of all the things that these guys have said. So that's House on the Hill and the Glass Bead Game.